What's up, everyone? My name is Justin Chade. I'm stoked to introduce you to the Ride Safe course by Gnarly Harley Adventures. I designed this course for the total beginner, just like yourself, to ride safer, smoother, faster. We'll go over everything from foil dynamics, rider technique, rider etiquette, and how to assemble your board. So let's get stoked and dive right in. Welcome, eFoilers, to an exciting chapter in the Ride Safe course. In this chapter, we're going to go over how to assemble your very own eFoil for the first time. But before we do so, we need to make sure that we have our eFoil board, our eFoil mast, and our battery. So let's jump right in. Let's start by unzipping our eFoil travel case. All right. Now that we've opened our eFoil travel case, let's go over all the different parts and components that come with your case. First, we have the eFoil propulsion system, also known as your mast. Then we have our accessories pouch. We also have a convenient strap if you want to make it easier carrying your case, and then the prop removal tool. Now let's start with the mast. The mast comes in 3 different sizes. It comes in the 80, the 75, and the 60. 80 being the most advanced mast. It's got a little bit more length and leverage to it. The 75 being your standard mast, and then the 60, which is great for the Flite board air or beginners. Now let's start at the top. We've got 2 cables. We have our power and our negative. These cables feed into the Flite box, which is basically the brains of the whole system. Inside the Flite box, we have our ESC and our Bluetooth connections. The Flite box also acts as a protective cover to prevent any water ingress into your system. Now, traveling down the mast, we have the fuselage. The fuselage contains our motor and gearbox, propulsion module, and then underneath, you'll notice that we have different attachment points. So we have the 3 attachment points here, and then we have our node. The node collects all the electrolysis, so it protects all the surrounding components of the eFoil. And then we have our fuselage cap. These caps come in different sizes depending on what wing you're using. So to remove them, pretty simple, you just pop it forward. Now on the inside of this cap, it's gonna have 2 different numbers, 1 and 2. Depending on what wing that you're using, each wing requires a different cap. So not only did Flite design their wings to have a certain shape, but they designed their fuselage to change shapes depending on the wing that you're using. So you're getting a very hydrodynamic system. And then looking down, we have our tailpiece. And we'll go over how to assemble this later in the chapter. But the tailpiece basically attaches to the stem here, and then this is where we put our stabilizer wing. And now getting to the end of the mast, we have our propulsion system. With the Series 3 Flite, we have 3 different systems. We have our prop with guard, which the guard is removable. We have our Flite jet or jet system. And then we have a True Glide prop, which is great for surfing and high-speed riding. Now, let's dive in to the Flite accessories pouch. All right, fellow eFoilers, let's check out what's inside your accessories pouch. First, we'll pull out the screw pouch. This little pouch here contains all the screws that are required to assemble your eFoil. First, we have the 4 flange screws. This attaches the eFoil to the board. Then we have our fuselage tail and our front wing screws. Next, we're gonna go into the Flite controller. This Flite controller is very important. You're not gonna go anywhere without it. So we'll put this to the side for now. Now we have our Flite controller adapter. This adapter connects simply with the USB, and then with the magnetic side, this will attach to your Flite controller like so. As soon as it plugs in, your Flite controller will turn on and say that it's charging. Next, we have all the different wall adapters. So if you're in Australia, Europe, South America, the United States, wherever you are, you're gonna have a wall adapter for your location. Now we have the Tef gel. The Tef gel is very important, especially if you're gonna keep your board assembled at all times. The Flite board uses stainless steel screws and stainless steel inserts. So if you're disassembling your board every time, it's okay to not use this. Now, if you're going to use this, use a small amount. I mean, the tiniest little dab. A little bit goes a long way. If you use too much, you're gonna find your fingers get sticky. A lot of dirt and grime are gonna collect on your screws and inside the insert. So you don't really want that. So a little bit goes a long way. Now, let's say you do use this and you wanna clean your inserts and your screws. We have this nice little brush tool Now this little brush tool, you can stick into the insert, get all that grime out. You can wipe all your screws up. So that's a nice little tool to have. Now we have the Allen key. This is the one tool that'll connect your entire board. So make sure you don't lose this. The next tool is our prop removal tool. Got the little socket here, your little T-bar. Simply insert it, and now you can remove the nut off your prop. Now these little orange gaskets, these are your Flite box flange O-rings. These basically set down right at the base of the board, and then your mast will go on top. This is what keeps all the water out of your board. I highly recommend putting a little bit of silicone grease on this. This will extend the life of it. Now, if you find that this is worn, cracked, stretched out, get rid of it, grab the next one. And if you wear this one out, just give your local service center a call or Flite board, and we'll get you a new one. Don't forget to check out your owner's manual, as it has all the different information that you need about your eFoil, or you can refer back to the Ride Safe course. Now, one little hidden thing that most people don't know that's in their pouch is our magnet. This magnet helps power on your board, it helps start your charging, and it's actually located right here inside the pouch underneath this Velcro, and you get one extra magnet piece. One of these magnets will come with your battery, but it's nice to have. Last but not least, we have our shims. The shims go from 0 through 5. These basically increase front foot pressure or decrease front foot pressure, but we'll go into this later on in the chapter. Now let's dive into the assembly of your eFoil. All right, Shred Lords, it's time to assemble our eFoil. But before we get started, we want to make sure we have all the necessary tools required to do so. We've got our fuselage cap. We've got our Allen tool. We've got the shim, our Tef gel, and all 10 screws required to assemble it. So let's start by inserting the eFoil into the board. Carefully flip the eFoil upside down. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna install these cables first. So we're gonna put those in nice and gently, and we're gonna allow the Flite box to gently seat onto the flange. Boom. Once that's done, we can go to our tools. So now we've got the Flite box flange screws. There's 4 of these 20mm screws. I personally like to assemble them in a cross pattern. So I'll go from corner to corner. All right, so we got these fresh screws here. We go from corner to corner. We'll take our Allen tool and we're just gonna gently screw them on. Nice and easy. Hand tighten. We'll go to the next corner. And it's important to note that you just need to hand tighten these. No need to over tighten them, just enough to seat the eFoil to the board. And our last one here. All right, eFoil is attached to the board. Next, we're gonna go up to the top. So right at the fuselage, we're gonna install the fuselage cap. But make sure you have the right number to the right front wing that you're using. In our case, we're gonna be installing the 1500 cruiser jet. So we're gonna be using a number 2. Now that we have our eFoil assembled to the board, it's time to install the wings. But first, let's install the tailpiece. So we'll take our tailpiece here, and we'll take that small screw that comes in our kit. And with this tailpiece, I like to stick it in there, but you almost wanna push in a little bit and lift to allow that screw to fit in nice and easy. Then we'll take our Allen tool here, screw that guy all the way down. Just a note, this is the only screw insert that isn't stainless steel to stainless. So highly recommend putting some Tef gel on this screw to prevent any electrolysis. Now at the tail end of the tailpiece, we have 4 holes. 2 of the holes are for the screws and the other 2 are for the shim. So if you notice at the shim here, we have these little plastic divots. We're gonna put the curve, the upward curve to the front, and the number should go to the rear of the tailpiece. So we'll just click that on nice and easy. Now that we have our shim installed on the tailpiece, it's time to install the stabilizer. So I'm gonna grab my 2 stabilizer screws. I'm gonna grab my rear stabilizer wing and pull it from the bag. All right. Now, one thing to note, on the wings, we have our flat side, and then we have where the screw holes kind of have this divot. That divot is where the head of the screw is gonna sit. So we're gonna take this flat side and put it down. We're gonna put it down nice and easy on the tailpiece. And then we're gonna install our stabilizer screws, making sure that they fit right into the holes. And then we'll just do a gentle tightening of the screws. Perfect. Stabilizer wing is assembled. Now we're gonna move on to the front wing. So with the front wing, we have 3 screws. 2 of the screws are gonna be the same size, and then 1 of the screws is gonna be a little bit longer. That longer screw is gonna be the front screw. So it's gonna go right on the nose, and the 2 smaller screws are gonna go in the back. So let's grab our front wing. We're gonna remove the front wing from the bag. We'll set that down nice and easy. Our flat side gonna be top of the wing or the bottom as we install it. And then we have the side with the nice little divots here where the screw heads fit in. So we're just gonna set this down nice and easy. And I'll just note, if it is wrong, it won't fit. So it's almost dummy proof. So we'll take our 2 same size screws, we'll put those in the rear, and then we'll drop in that big screw. I personally like to do the back screws first. This is gonna help align the wing. So just gently screw those guys in, hand tighten, then we'll get that front screw in there. It's important to note not to over tighten these. If you over tighten these screws, what can happen is you can actually push the insert through the top of the fuselage, which is gonna give you this little bubble. It's the most annoying bubble. So please don't over tighten your screws. Just finish it off with a little hand tighten here. Boom. Front wing is installed, the rear wing is installed, our tailpiece is installed. We are ready to assemble the battery. So let's head on over to the next chapter.